Time for an update. I've been busy the last couple of weeks making wing groups, and I've got a wee stack here to show you. So that's 42 main wing ribs, and I need to make about another 4, 2 for the aircraft and 2 more for destructive testing, but I'm pretty much close enough to being done with those. And these are half ribs, and there's 14 here. Got to make another 10 of those, and once I've got those done, we're on the way to getting those done. I'll also be making full-size wing ribs with this piece in it. This goes on the front center wing leading edge, and there's a 3/4 inch hole to drill through there, which I'll do before I start making the ribs up. And I need 12 of those. These ones are here for other parts. Same with these tail webs. They're needed for other parts, and once you get rid of 12 of these and 12 tail ribs for those, then you're on to the remainder of those for other parts as well. So yeah, so kind of getting there. It's been a, before I spin that way, I want another piece from here out of my rack. I'll show this as well. So yeah, so it's been, I wouldn't say a slow couple of weeks. It's been fairly steady, just working through these. They've taken about an hour each to assemble. So there's quite a few hours involved in this, but none of it's new or different to what I've already shown. So I just kind of cracked on with it. What I will show though is this mid rib web, and that piece. That's caused by a screw going in off centre. So whip that out and replace that. But surprisingly, well, at least surprising to me, that's the only example I've got of that. Everything else went pretty smooth. I've got a couple of tool marks on the capping strips, which may be on the underside. I can't see them here. So I'll flip these over in a minute and check the underside. And the ones I'm concerned around these, the area where the spar goes through. Based on destructive testing so far, there we go, that looks a bit shady. Have a closer look at that. Based on destructive testing so far, the weak point is here, and there'll be 2 more screws going through this into the spar, which will help isolate the loads from one side of the spar to the other. And I want this area here clear of tooling blemishes if I can, which I should be able to do. For example, this one here, I'll whip that cap strip off and I'll replace it with another one, and that'll get rid of that tooling strip. That sorry, what am I saying? That tool mark. So I think there's 1 or 2 on the underside as well, but I'll find those in a minute. But yeah, just thought I'd pull these out. Once I put these back in the box, they'll be staying there until start of summer, which is when I'll look at gluing the top cap strips on. And I'm doing that because I want to deal with this curve at the front, which is relatively severe. The wood's coping with it okay, but it's relatively severe. And at the same time, if I need to, I'll steam those, but if they end up settling and staying like this and being comfortable, all good. That'll be great. Which means when I put these ribs onto the wing, let's pull one up. Sorry, just stick through it and line them all up. So when I put these on the wing, that will be glued, and I just need to glue this one over top of the rib, over top of the spar rather, which I'll go through there, and the back one. So that's the cunning plan, and I can't really glue that until we get towards summer, at least spring, because temperatures at the moment are often diving below 5 degrees, and I don't want to be gluing in that. Having heard horror stories of people gluing aircraft in winter and aircraft falling out of the sky as a consequence. So not a good look. Yeah, not part of my cunning plan. And I've got time. This is a 10-year project, so I don't mind waiting for summer for that. So cool. So that's where I am at the moment. Not much else to report. I'm just making wing groups. Good fun. Let's spin this round. Cool. So other stuff is, the main thing I'm working on outside of the wing ribs is trying to find steel for brackets. I've narrowed down on 4130 annealed, and annealed 4130. 4130, if you're not aware, is otherwise called chrome moly, and it's a common use in aircraft construction, modern aircraft construction. It's not my ideal pick, but I found trying to find that what I actually want, which is 1025 mild steel, is near impossible. I can find it 100mm thick slabs, but when you want that 100mm to be 0.3 of a millimetre or 0.8 of a millimetre, it's just not a happening thing. On top of that, we've got problems with getting stuff into New Zealand, and I can't import a container load of steel just to make a camel, much as I'd like to. So yeah, so we're going with chromoly and an Eld. I've got a supplier who feels he's sourced it. That was 2.5 weeks ago, but he hasn't come back to me with sizes and prices yet. So I'm on a bit of tenterhooks for that. With that said, I've got plenty of time. I've got truckloads more wing ribs to do. These ones in front of me here are the main ones, and the other ones are all variations on a theme, including some custom webs, which I've got to make up as well. So there'll be more content coming up, mainly around mainly around ribs. Why am I mixing those two up? Mainly around ribs. But yeah, cool. So that's broadly where I am at the moment. I'll show a little bit of content, but there isn't much to show at this point. Otherwise, wait for next week or the week after. Cheers. See you soon. I'm at the tail end of this particular variation of the ribs. I need 44 of these, and this one, I haven't made a mistake for a while, but this one here, you can see where it's splintered. And what I think has happened is I got a little bit carried away with the pick, this tool being the pick, which I'm using to locate where the screw holes go, by jabbing it, basically giving it a wiggle, leaving a dent in the side of the ply. This tool then centers the hole, make sure I get the hole in the right place. And what I think's happened is the pick was properly offset, maybe created too large a hole, and the screw took to that offset hole first. So what I found when I was screwing it in, the screw was going in off at an angle which didn't look right. I stopped, had a bit of a play with it, tried to get it sorted out, eventually took the screw right out, hoping I hadn't damaged anything, but it looks like I have. So what I'm currently doing is I have a new set of web ribs already done. So that's already done, the holes are drilled. This one at the end, that's already done, the holes are drilled for that as well. And for the centre web, this one's already done and the holes are drilled. Not sure if you can see that. Oh, there we go. See that? Nice and centered. So what I'm now doing is basically using the same template, creating a brand new centre web, drilling the holes for this one, and I'm going to use this one to replace that one, which means I've got an unmarked and undamaged centre web for this rib. And what I'll do for this one is I'm actually going to save that, and I'm going to put that into the test rib, which might be summer because I'm a bit nervous about gluing at the moment. But I'm going to save that for the test rib because I don't think that's going to be a fatal flaw. I don't want it in my aircraft, but I don't think it's going to be a fatal flaw. So I'll be interested to see how it performs with that in it. And I think the break will be somewhere else. It's funny the things that go through your mind when you do these. It's what effectively I've done is I've done a repair, which could easily be a battle repair, and it makes you wonder about the life and death decisions that the mechanics used to make, actually repairing combat aircraft with bullet holes through them and all sorts. You've got to make judgment calls as to what do you think is going to leave the aircraft fit for purpose and what do you think will end up killing the pilot. And that's quite a big call to have to make, particularly if you're a 19-year-old aircraft mechanic just learning the job. So, but anyway, so that's not going on my aircraft, that's for sure. Well, these tool marks aren't as bad as I had in the back of my mind. Seem to be much worse, but I'll show you what I've got. So this one is probably the worst lot. It's the one I showed before. On here I've got 3 more ribs here. Let's move along. This way. There we go. There's that one, which doesn't seem too bad. It's covering about 1/4 of it, and it doesn't go very deep. I've got a similar sized tool mark here. Again, it's not very large, not very deep. And here, it's not so much a tool mark as a wood chip, which I'm wondering about. So, oh, there we go, wood chip's out. So I'm wondering about that one as well. So I'm in two minds. I'm going to sleep on these. I may end up keeping these three in the stack and using this one, being the worst one, as one of my test ribs. And if it breaks there, then stands to reason I need to replace the other ones as well. So I'll sleep on that, see how I feel tomorrow. Something in the back of my mind is that, with regards to those tour marks, is these are combat aircraft repaired in the field. They'd get tour marks in the sheds anyway. So it's a matter of how perfectionist do I want to be in first making it versus how realistic I am that it's not going to get damaged in the future, at least minor damage. So that's kind of what's going through my mind at the moment. Am I getting too anal? Do I need to replace those, or is that going to be considered normal wear and tear in a military aircraft? And I should be able to cope with that. I think the best bet is actually to test it. Test one of them. So, but anyway, food for thought. Ribs snuggled up in bed, waiting for summer.